there, fellow millennials. Today I'm going to tell you why we rock and why, despite all of this nonsense about, oh, millennials are lazy, oh, this or that, and I'm not one to touch on this, but I've had this thought over the last week, and I want to get this out to the masses. Millennials are some of the most creative, entrepreneurial people to ever walk the face of the earth. Reason? eSports. eSports in 2017 is going to be greater than a $1 billion industry in just events alone. That's not to say that the games and the consoles, which make $6.6 billion, and the PC market, which makes, I believe, somewhere around $5.7 billion a year. Now, what's the point of this? Well, what's the average age? When I went to MLG Las Vegas and I was walking around, I honestly don't think that I saw somebody who was visibly older than 30 or so years old. Most of the people that were there were between 18 and 25. That is crazy. You see these people that are dropping out of school, dropping out of high school in some cases, dropping out of college to pursue this dream and this passion of esports, which is a consistently growing commodity that everybody wants to dive their hands in. Sponsors, companies, just absolutely everything. Game manufacturers, indie games, anybody who's kind of on the up and up wants to take a part in esports and kind of also related gaming in general. But if you really think about how that breaks down, you have most of the millennial age group creating and participating in some of the most intriguingly out there stuff that if you were to ask your grandparents, from my age standpoint, that what would you have imagined this to become? I mean, they were around and probably parenting our parentals or kind of first becoming grandparents when video games really first started to hit the market more mainstream with the in-house console and not just the arcade cabinets that you went around and still drained your quarters throwing in at Frogger because you just gotta get across to the other side, for goodness sake. You have to pull a Costanza and you just gotta get that Frogger machine across the street. Shout outs to anybody who got that reference, by the way. But just it amazes me, and I know that I'm jumbled in this vlog and I don't really have a straight line that I'm going through, but neither does esports. Esports is so expansive, and yes, it's very linear in nature, and there's a clear set focus, but just what amazes me is how much it's expanding, even just since I got into it really full time almost about a year ago. And through the streaming service of Twitch, which is also a huge industry, and all of the ingenuity and creativity that people my age do. A lot of us don't want to go to a 4-year college to get a degree that we're going to spend the rest of our lives paying back and are not going to enjoy anyway. And what I love about this is what really got me started about thinking this is hearing some of the other photographers that I worked with and what their age really is. I'm only 23, and I'm not by any means a top tier esports photographer, but when I'm hearing some of the ages and seeing some of the work that they've created, and they are making this their lives, and some of the gamers and the people that are on the stage playing the game, this is their life. You can walk up on stage taking pictures of these guys, snapping your shutter on and on and on and on and on, and these guys do not flinch at you being up there, literally in their face. I mean, I can touch my camera lens from here, and you can be this close to those dudes and gals, and they will not flinch. They will not, their focus will not even direct up to you most of the time, unless it's in between matches or something. But if it's anything involving the game itself, you're not going to get their attention unless you smack them upside the face. And within this, you have people that are so creative and so entrepreneurial that they are making this a $1 billion industry. And they're kids that are my age, 23 years old. And I always go to a hockey game and I think, some of these top tier players, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, are 20 years old. and I'm older than them, and they're doing what they're doing on the ice, I feel that that's the same thing with esports. There's younger kids that have more passion, more energy, more drive. Every single event that I see, that somebody else is here and they're gonna stay. And they're gonna do whatever they have to do because that is what we millennials do. We don't go by the book necessarily and do the whole 4-year degree route. A lot of us are doing smaller things, and yes, a lot of us are getting business degrees or degrees in more esports related fields, I feel, and a lot of us are starting to fall on the bandwagon of getting a business degree. If I could go back to school today and afford it and do it full time with, I have a job that kind of prohibits me from doing that, and yes, I'm contradicting the fact that I said millennials are goal-getters and all that stuff, but that's not to say I'm not still planning on finding a way to make it happen, because I think about it all the time and always am crunching the numbers and time and all sorts of stuff like that, but we just are always finding ways to make this happen. And yes, MLG and other esports companies were more than likely created, funded, and invested by people in the generation before, but at the same time, we are the ones making it. We are the ones keeping it alive. And I just want to say this from the bottom of my heart, that if you are a part of this, I have all the respect for you in the world, and I am proud to be alongside you in creating this field and this community. And no matter how many bad things happen and how much nonsense happens, anything happen that negative, there are thousands of people. MLG just had 110,000 people watching their live event on MLG.tv. Now, this is not a point of them versus Twitch on where they stream. The fact that you had 110,000 people put aside whatever they were doing, myself included, to watch the grand finals, which I don't know as much about Call of Duty as I do other games that I watch events for, is an outstanding thing. League of Legends has the market in East Asia, and other games have markets in other places and all of that, but we are awesome. And I just want to say that to all of you, because it's not just me and it's not just the work that I do. I am honored to work alongside of all of you and be a part of this with everybody involved. And to all of us, I say, hey, let's make it even better for next year. Thanks for watching. Sorry for being so jumbled up. I might watch this back as I'm editing and realize I didn't even get to the point that I fully intended. But I hope that this was inspiring, gave you some clarity and thought, and maybe even inspired you to say, hey, yep, I'm going forward with this. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you guys next time.